Welcome to PonyCraft Tainted Skies update video number 6. There haven't been any update videos for quite a while now, not because the project hasn't been moving forward. A lot has happened since the last update, but I haven't been posting anything because the updates were way too technical and probably just plain boring. The first major update is that I've successfully finished the core code of the engine. This includes an in-game console, formatted and useful debug logs, a script editor with syntax highlighting, ability support for units. Any available ability in the engine can be bound to any type of unit, and the engine technically supports network multiplayer. It will, however, remain disabled for the time being. I've been working on a fog of war effect. The first version of it proved to be very resource heavy and resulted in unacceptable frame rates, even with just a handful of units. I've come up with a system that helps improve on this. The first thing I did is spread the coloring process over many game loops. This is visible when you move the unit and observe how the terrain periodically darkens. This alone wasn't near enough, so each unit now pre-generates a vertex brush and stores it in a two-dimensional array. You can think of this as a paintbrush in Photoshop. The unit simply paints its brush onto the underlying terrain instead of calculating the data at real time. While this helped a lot, there were still major slowdowns with 30 units and more. So instead of blitting the unit vertex brushes to the terrain directly, I used the Pathfinder's formation algorithm and merged all unit brushes into one single brush. This means that there is now only one vertex brush for each formation. If we visualize the formations, we quickly see that even with groups of over 50 ponies, there are only about 4 formations, which means only 4 brushes are being blitted to the terrain. Each orange dot you see here is one formation. The only way to slow it down now would be to control every unit everywhere on the map at the same time. Splitting them up does cause more formations, but I have compensated for this well. If a unit doesn't move for 4 seconds, they are removed from their formation and added to a static vertex brush. The static brush uses almost no processing power because it's integrated into the code that dims the terrain over time. Luckily for me though, there currently aren't that many Koreans into My Little Pony. Pegasi have different view ranges depending on whether they are on the ground or in the air. Abilities can be chained together when holding the Shift key. For example, I could send my Pegasus to the edge of this wall, chain a fly command, and then tell her to move over the wall. This is still a work in progress and has some bugs. Scripts now support callback functions. To quickly demonstrate the power of this, here's an example. First I'll copy this code, which will create a GUI button. I'll want it to be in the top right corner of the screen, and it should have a unique ID of its own. If we go to the game quickly, the button is there, but it doesn't do anything yet. Callbacks are defined by using the event and end event keywords. So I'll create an event which will run script number 3. Script 3 will load Twilight Sparkle into the game. Now just bind the event to the button we created, and that's it. If we go to the game now and click on the button, script 3 is executed and Twilight is loaded. This is just one example of a callback function. There are many other ways to trigger them. For example, with timers, or you can even set it so your units trigger it when they reach a certain area. That's it for this video. If you have any suggestions for improvement, please leave a comment below or visit our forums.